Okay, here, so working with foundations, there's mainly three types of foundations that you'll see. And on the Home tab, under the foundation category, you have isolated foundations, wall foundations, and foundation slabs or mats. So under that, you also have a slab edge that is similar to a slab edge that is on the floor. So if you look at floor, there's a slab edge as well. So I'm not going over slab edge today because it's pretty simple. You pick the edge of a slab and it will put it on there, and you can look at that, and it's the same as placement as floors. So, all right, to begin with, let's see here. I'm going to go over isolated foundations. Here we have an in-place family. Here we have wall foundations, and so on. So let's start by going to my plan view here. Okay. So to place a foundation, you can place in two different ways. Um, an isolated foundation you actually can place by grids or by column locations. So don't need you. All right, so let me zoom over here. Here I have a few columns already placed in the project, and I will finish populating that by using the grids. So if I go to foundation isolated, I can pick from a group of ones we already have in the system. By default, we have a rectangular one selected. So I could place that in my plan view or my 3D view anywhere that I pick. But here we want to use the, on the Modify tab, use the Add Grids location. So I select Add Grids, and let's select these three grids right here. So when you do that, you'll see a representation of where they will land, but you'll notice that they have not actually placed yet on those two columns. So let's do that again. Why don't you do that? Isolated, at grids. All right, so to finish that, you need to actually hit the finish checkbox, and then it will place those on the foundations for you, on the column for you. Now, they're not hooked to the bottom of the columns yet, and I'll show you that in a moment. But there is a way to basically make them follow the columns. So for the next one, what I want to do here is at columns. So here I have a couple more, and I want to do it again. So this time I'm going to go to isolated foundation and select the at columns. This is the preferred method for me because I know it's on my columns, and the grids sometimes do some funny things when you have a lot of grids and you just really want to pinpoint certain intersections. If there's a column already on that intersection or not on that intersection, you can actually put it on that column by holding control, and then when you're done, hit finish. So now I have them placed on the columns. All right, so things to note, what they do. You can make sure I'm following along here. Spot elevations. Now, a regular spot elevation, if you go to the annotation tab and place a spot elevation on a foundation, you can now move that, and note that can be done in 3D as well. So I could put a spot elevation here as well. I use the shortcut EL there. Now you can have this foundation move by typing in a number in the spot elevation. So if I do it in plan view, I pick the foundation, the number turns blue, and I can tell it to go down where's -2 feet. So when I do that, notice the column did not move with the foundation. So if you want your column to move, you actually move your column instead of your foundation. So what you do there is you pick your column. Why I can't, I'm stuck in a command. And where it says level 1 here, I move that down to -2, and I get this orange, it's orange on my screen. You get this message that says the attached structural foundation will now be attached to the bottom of the column. So you click OK, the column moves down and the foundation follows it, and then you can see that the spot elevation will show that correctly as well. So this comes in really handy when you start a new project and you want to just get your foundations in there. You don't care what elevation they are, you just want to get something in there so you can give it to the architect and kind of show them the basic layout. Then later on you can come in and put spot elevations on there, or pick your columns and just start moving them down. So a lot of times we'll have generic, foundations, not quite the ones we're going to use, but they're pretty close to what we need. So all right, so the next thing to look at is we want to use that spot elevation to help us. So what's nice is you can create any type, well, not any type, you can create several types of spot elevations. Here, if I click this one, there's some already in the project. What I did was I made one called foundation elevation. So if I swap this one, what it does is it turns into one where the elevation is at the bottom. So then I could put a tag maybe at the top and so on. So over here I've got one, and I have the type tag. So what we want to do, until they give us the capability to make it all one, we have to use two to make it look like one. So we have a foundation, and a lot of times we'll just rename this to be what type of foundation it is. If you did not want to do that, we could use another tag that uses the mark column, and you could say this is an F1 foundation. But a lot of times we'll just go ahead and have them as type so we can change them later. So this one is a type 72 inch by 48 by 18. So what if all of our F1s are that size? So to do that, we would just go ahead and edit this type and rename it to be an F1. All right, so later on you redesign the footing, you need to come in here and just change the length and width dimensions. To see that, I seen this earlier. You can right click in here and hit zoom to fit, and I thought it was like right there. I'm not sure why these are not centered, but you can find the little icon. So this is very frustrating. They need to fix that, and I think I've only seen it in a few families, but it's definitely problematic. So if you look at this over here, it tells you what the dimensions are linked to. So the width is the width, the length is the length, and the thickness is the thickness. So later on you change your type F1s, you want to come in, select it, edit it, and then change these dimensions to be what your F1s should be. So all right, so now where was I going with that? Sorry, I put this together this morning, so usually I try to run through it a couple times. So yeah, we want to use these two tags in combination for our plans. So what we do is we take the new F1 tag and we tell it to turn the leader off. So then we can just take it and use these little move things and put it right there. So now we have a tag. The only other thing is we want the open and close